This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the Samsung Galaxy Tab 7 Plus. Plus means the newer version. This is not last year's Galaxy Tab 7, but the new improved honeycomb toting tablet for 2011. As you expect from Samsung, it's a thin tablet. It's also very light. 12 ounces makes it one of the lightest 7-inch tablets on the market. And we have something really special here by Samsung tablet standards. That's a microSD card slot in the Galaxy Tab 10 and 8.9 don't get any kind of memory expansion card slot, so that's pretty cool to have. Take a look here. We've got some stereo speakers. They're usually usual 30-pin connector at the end. Comes with the USB cable that has this. Goes to USB at the other end. And if you want HDMI out, there is no HDMI port on this. I think that's a bad idea when you're competing with cheaper tablets like the Kindle and the Nook. You could, if you have easy HDMI out, that's a real selling point. But you can get an adapter for this port to convert it to HDMI out to work with your TV. And it does have DLNA for wireless streaming to your TV. We've got an IR blaster remote here for controlling your TV and AV gear. Volume rocker, power button. And here's your 3.5mm headphone jack, and there's a mic hole right here. And on the back, kind of nice looking, it's faux metal, plastic back, 3-megapixel camera, LED flash, and there's a front video chat camera as well. Not a bad looking tablet, obviously going to be one of the thinner ones. Let's just compare it with the HTC Flyer 7-inch tablet, which is $100 cheaper. Of course, that's going to be a bit thicker. And that's the back of the Flyer. To refresh your memory, we have a video review of this as well. And this guy is finished in metal. The 7-inch display is 1024 by 600 pixels. That's a pretty common resolution for 7-inch tablets. The Honeycomb shares that resolution, so does the Kindle Fire, the Nook. The Huawei T-Mobile Springboard tablet we did a video review of is the only one that has a higher resolution currently. This runs Android OS 3.2 Honeycomb, which is the version that fully supports 7-inch tablets. And it runs on a dual-core 1.2 GHz Samsung Exynos processor, and this thing is fast as you'd expect from the Exynos processor. We got a quadrant benchmark of 3500, which puts it just at the top of pretty much all Android devices. That's as good as you're going to see. LinPack was 72, which is pretty solid, and the SunSpider JavaScript test was 1781, which is one of the fastest times we have ever seen. Typically, Android smartphones score anywhere from about 2200 up to 6000 or so, and the tablets usually hover around 2100, so this beats everybody for JavaScript rendering. This is a Wi-Fi only tablet. It has Wi-Fi 802.11bgn, Bluetooth, and a GPS, and that's important to note. If you're thinking about this versus the cheaper tablets, the $200 Kindle Fire and the new Nook tablet that's $249, those guys don't give you the GPS and don't give you Bluetooth, so if those are features that you need, keep that in mind along with the TV output streaming capability feature. T-Mobile does offer a 3G version of this tablet. Their pricing model has gotten a little confusing with tablets involving things like monthly payments and such, but it's around $400, which is about the same price as the Wi-Fi only version. Of course, you get their 3G, 4G, HSPA Plus radio built in for that price. Of course, a big selling point for the Tab 7 Plus over the old Tab 7, besides the fact that it's thinner and lighter, is that it runs Honeycomb. And here I have the original Tab 7 up top, running Android OS 2.3 Gingerbread, of a phone-based operating system, really. You can see the screen really hasn't improved. That's one thing that's a little bit disappointing. It's not that there's a bad screen on the 7 Plus, but Samsung usually wows us with super bright and colorful displays, and this one doesn't outshine its predecessor. In terms of thickness and styling, it's certainly a lot better. See how much thicker the original Galaxy Tab was, and kind of less styling looking. And if we compare this to the display on the Flyer up here, I would say the Flyer's is actually a little bit warmer and sharper maybe, but they're both very good displays. They're on par with each other. And now I'll compare it to the Kindle Fire up top here. Again, 7-inch tablet's about the same size. And the Kindle Fire is running on auto brightness right now, so that's why it looks a little bit dimmer. It's not probably quite as color saturated, I would say, as the Samsung, but it's quite a nice and sharp display. They both do have glare on the screens. I would say the Fire has a bit more glare. In terms of thickness, the Fire is, your kind of boring black minimalist slab. Doesn't have the tapered sides and stuff. And here we have it with the new Nook tablet on the left, and you can see that the Nook tablet's a little bit taller. Definitely a very different kind of styling. The Nook tablet's very distinctive. Looks just like the Nook color. Kind of a neat design there. And it's also pretty slim, the Nook tablet, so they're not too far off, but yeah, still the Samsung is the thinnest and the lightest. And here we have it with the Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1 in the back. Obviously a big difference in size there. You could just about fit two of them in the same space. See how the Tab 10.1 screen is a little bit brighter though, a little bit more vivid. Samsung has customized the user interface with their TouchWiz software, much like we saw the downloadable customizable software for the Galaxy Tab 10.1. It didn't originally ship with it, but they added it later. And that gets you these handy clock widgets, weather, that kind of stuff. And if you don't like them, you can take them off. Just press and hold and drag them off. We've got their email widgets, some bookmark widgets, buddy widgets. Not quite as useful probably having buddy widgets because this does not have a telephone built in. And we've got their social hub for social networking, not a bad app for Twitter and Facebook, a calendar application. Widget here, and it's a nice calendar. Great month view. And you can switch to week view, day view. They did a nice job with it overall with the calendar. And they've also added this, a quick action strip here. You tap this and you can get to applications that you want down here that might be useful to have, like your world clock. They've got Pen Memo, preloaded calendar. Pen Memo is an interesting application because this does not come with a pen or stylus of any kind, so why it's called that, who knows. But you can write with your finger, and you can draw, and you can erase, and you can change colors and all that kind of stuff. So it's really more like finger memo. And one of the coolest applications on here is the Peel Smart Remote. That works with the IR blaster that we saw here, and this is an interesting thing. When you set it up, it doesn't say enter your remote codes, go ahead and get geeky. It just tells you to get within 8 feet of the gear that you want to control, your TV, your receiver, whatever, and it tries out codes for you once you tell what brand you have, and it supports about 8 major brands of TVs, about 10 for receivers, that kind of thing. And it works pretty well actually to set things up. Once you've done that, you tell it your zip code, then choose your cable provider, and instead of being the usual focusing on controlling your gear with buttons everywhere for controlling your gear, this is really more content focused. So you can see here it's looking at some popular stuff that folks might be interested in. You can switch just to sports programming in your area. So the gear that it controls is really based on what you want to watch. And so there's an all-on, all-off function, that kind of thing. But it's very different from Sony's AV remote with the Sony Tablet S that we did a video review of, where again it's more gear-oriented, not so much a TV grid kind of thing. So it's interesting, it's fun, it's a great couch buddy, and as to which style you prefer, something that's more programming oriented versus control all your buttons, well, that's up to you. We've also got Samsung's App Market on here, which we've seen on all their other tablets, and that's a sort of vetted marketplace. So you can get most of the same, or there's a lot of overlap with Android applications on the Android market. You don't have as many, there are not several 100,000 as there are with the Android market, but you do have access to the regular Android market with this as well, so no worries there. We've got Samsung's Media Hub for purchase and rental of movies and TV shows. Standard Google Maps, YouTube Player to Google Music Player, all the basics are on board here. Google Books is here. Got Amazon Kindle preloaded as well. Of course, you can put it on the B&N Nook app, Aldeco, any ebook reading application that you like. We have Polaris Office here as well, for those of you who want to work with Office files. And this has a nice tablet-oriented HD interface here, and you can choose stuff off your local storage, web storage. It works with places like Dropbox and all that kind of thing. And you can just go ahead and create a new file. As you can see, you can do Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, and PowerPoint as well. So it's pretty handy. And we'll take a look at the web browser now, which is your standard, very good Google WebKit-based web browser. And you can see the keyboard here, pretty big, pretty easy to use. And we'll check out our own site. And that loads pretty quickly over Wi-Fi, as it should, with good rendering. Flash ads not bothering it too much. Pinch zooming, fast and smooth. And we'll check out Flash Player. This does have Adobe Flash Player 11. And you can also use just the standard YouTube player for YouTube videos as well, but Flash is handy if you want to play some Flash-based games or look at something that's not on YouTube. Tap it out to full screen. 480p. Looking pretty sharp. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is. You can hear those speakers. They're pretty loud. Samsung does a good job of tablet speakers. Video player, you name it, everything to consume. Controls are responsive. That works quite well. And you've got a tabbed interface here, so as always you can open up new tabs and you've got your most visited sites pre-populating by default. Now we'll check out video playback, and we're just going to use the standard gallery application to do that, where we can use Samsung's video player as well. Then we'll go for our usual 1080p high profile video for challenge. Higher resolution than you need for this internal panel, but in case you want to stream this out to a TV or you do get the HDMI adapter.
I've got nothing against your friends. I like your friends. Well, things have obviously changed.
Plays perfectly smoothly.
I have to help Charles finish his movie.
It'd be good for you to spend some time with kids. You don't run around with cameras and monster.
I understand you have concerns about our cargo.
Colonel, there isn't anything else that I should know, sir.
I can assure you the answer is no. We've got calls from...
And TouchWiz adds a couple of extra little customizations here instead of just the standard basic Android menu. Here you have a little quick access to all your wireless radios, your sound, your auto rotation control, and all that kind of stuff too, which is handy. It's nice. So that's the Samsung Galaxy Tab 7 Plus. Is available now, and it's $399 for the 16 gig Wi-Fi version, about the same price for the T-Mobile 3G, 4G HSPA Plus version as well. It's one of the slimmest, lightest 7-inch tablets on the market. It's very fast, and it's more capable in some ways certainly than the Nook and the Fire, so it should be more expensive. And I think its biggest competition really is the HTC Flyer, now that that's dropped down to $299. It offers HDMI out capability via adapter as well, and it has an optional pen for those of you who actually want to draw or write precisely. That's an active digitizer pen. It's not a capacitive pen. Of course, the Flyer is still back on Gingerbread 2.3, but it's supposed to someday get an upgrade to Honeycomb. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Visit our website for the full review of the Samsung Galaxy Tab 7 Plus, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.